Hello everyone, welcome back. Oh, I missed my audio. There we go. Dial that down just a tad. So, tonight I am hoping to finally get that pull request in that I've been working on for the last couple streams with the theming brushes. I've been a little distracted with a couple other projects I've been working on, so I haven't had a lot of time to poke at this between streams, but I'm hoping we can wrap it up today or at least get it far enough to merge it. So, I made just kind of jotted down a quick list, and I think in terms of getting it merged, I think we could actually probably do it pretty quick. It's not a degradation for either of the bugs that we saw, but I was hoping to kind of wrap those up. So the two bugs in question were the shadow with the cards that is missing, as well as the theme color of the dialog host. So those were the two known issues that I was aware of. So I figured we would try and attack those. So let's dive back in, and we'll recall where we left off. So we fire this guy up, and we will see what we can do. I am going to shut down some stuff. Thankfully, I was able to order a new hard drive, so the out of hard drive space issue that we were fighting last time, that will go away in about 4 days. 4 days. So hopefully, and then there will be a full reinstall, machine wipe, and all that jazz. Okay, so let's start with Dialog Host, since that one we didn't look into before. That one doesn't count. This one. So this here is the problem, and we only kind of briefly took a look at it. So in short, the issue is I see no text. That's a problem. So if I come over here though and I toggle, because I have a strong, there's text. So what I can tell right out the gate is what is happening is this dialogue is being displayed. The theme text color is making it through, but the background is not. So something is off, because we shouldn't be letting half of the theme through. So we are going to track down where that is, and I think, see, that one's fine there. Goes away. And this one's probably easier because it's contained to this. This one here I know is up higher up. So let's see if we can track this down and figure it out. So I'm pretty sure if I, just from doing that theming toggle, I'm pretty sure I know what I'm going to find. So when I look at this text block here and I look at foreground, right? So I see that it's tied to the material design body brush. And I know that this guy here immediately toggles. You see the material design body switches to the dark theme, which when you're on a dark background, white font, that's helpful. We like that. You know, nice contrast. This, no contrast to the point where it's invisible. So let's start working our way up. So fun thing you can do in Snoop is you can use a pipe right here. Let me just check, make sure I got my stuff fired up. So I do not have Karnak running. I do not have Zoom It running. There we go. So fun thing you can do here is you can do a pipe, and we can do like foreground back. So you'll note I don't even bother to do all of the whole word, right? I just kind of type it and it figures out and goes, you know, substring matching. And so I can find all of the things that have foreground and back in it, which is really kind of convenient. And so in this case, what I'm looking for is to figure out where that background is getting set at. So we just keep going up the food chain until we find it. I have a hunch I know where it's going to be, because you see this guy's transparent, which that isn't. Okay, so this guy here. So part pop-up content element, background there. And I believe, I just want to confirm what I think I know. This guy over here, because you'll see how this guy floated, it's because this is a pop-up control. This one over here, not a pop-up. But you'll note it has the same problem. And it might be mildly easier to track simply because it is embedded inside of the main visual tree. So rather than having to jump visual trees, but it's got the same bug. So whatever's doing the brush dialog toggle is is our problem child. So I imagine if I go here, you'll see it's the same problem. So this dialog background is white in light theme, and apparently does not change in dark theme. Which then begs the question, there is a, what is it? There's like a theme something or another. See? I don't even need to know the name of it. Theme assist inherit. Dialog theme is set to inherit. So I will say that when this thing is set to inherit, I expect the whole theme to propagate down. I don't expect this garbage. So something is not appropriately propagating the background theme all the way down. Because the text foreground is populating down, but text foreground's kind of a special one. It's usually less problematic. It's designed to propagate down. Foreground colors are kind of built for that. Background's a little trickier. And clearly the source of our problem. So, short version, this pop-up content element is the source of our issues. So we're going to go to the theme project. We're going to go into themes. We're going to go into dialog host. Oh, so for anybody unfamiliar with the material design library, this material design themes WPF, this is your meat and potatoes. This is where all the cool stuff is. And then more specifically, any XAML themes, so styles, content templates, all of that stuff, lives under the themes folder. Not to be confused with what will become a theme folder shortly. Am I not on the... I must not be on my theme, bro. I'm on master. Good to know. We'll fix this guy on master, and then we'll circle back to it. Okay. This bug clearly exists in both places. Okay, so this is the default dialog host that uses a pop-up, but we know it exists in both, so we're going to pick on this one. Hey, Metal Slug, how you doing? We are tracking down this annoying dialog host bug. So even though the dialog or the theme is set to inherit, the foreground color inherits, the background color does not, which is not good. So let's see what we can find out. How you doing? Because you're West Coast, yeah, definitely love the UI bugs. You're West Coast US, right? So it's starting to get cooler for you. Welcome to winter. Okay, let's take a look here. So this guy here. Oh, located in Seattle now. You're getting close to my neck of the woods. I'm on the other side of the state in Spokane. So you get the rainy side, I get the desert. Okay, we're gonna just drop this. Okay, so this overlay wait, is that really where it was coming from? Pop-up content element. No, that's I'm looking at the wrong thing. This guy here. Dialog background. Pretty crazy scene in desert of Washington. Yes, it is. So for anybody not familiar with the geography of Washington State, not Washington, D.C., everybody's usually familiar with the Seattle area, which has a notorious reputation for rain. And then the other side of the state, we have a reputation for desert. Thankfully, as you get right to the border of the edge of the state where I'm at, the desert kind of stops and you start getting the pretty, like what people think of with the Pacific Northwest forest. So basically, when you drop right out of the desert down the hill, you're dropping right into Spokane. So, which can be for some great pictures if you hit it right at sunrise. But that requires being awake and driving at sunrise, which that has its own set of problems. So dialog background. So you are my problem child. Where do you come from? Who sets this? Show me. Somebody in here is setting this. So those are the bindings that are using it, so that's expected. It's telling me unset? No, that can't be right. That can't be right. That can't be right at all. What? Let's try this. Let's expand it. I expected it to be in that project, but let's find out. I am really confused because I expected this to be... Huh? So nothing's setting it. I mean, that would explain why it seems to always have the background property color of white. Let's just confirm that it is actually true white. Yeah, so it is true white. So nothing's setting it, which is why it's always white. Okay. That is the reason for the bug. Now, we should fix this. Okay, so step one. I'm going to write a test. Because this is the type of thing that there should be a test for. So, we're going to leverage the nice little test project that I wrote. And we are going to put a UI test together real quick for it. So, let's start with this. Fact, public, async task. Okay, that's a little creepy. Stop typing everything for me. Dialog inherits theme background. Because when the dialog host is set to inherit, I really do expect that to flow through. So let's see, what do we need here? I don't think we need much of this. Let's grab this. I think we have... I thought I had one for each. Yeah, whatever. Yeah, let's just grab this and we'll edit this much of it. So that's gonna go like that. So let's see, I don't need 2 dialog hosts. I'll take... Oh, I see. This is loaded. This is doing both dialog hosts in one shot. Oh, that's actually kind of convenient. We're gonna keep that. So this confirms that we actually can set the dialog background. Oh, this is probably the one that broke it. Oh. Let's look at PR 2236. I bet you this is the PR that broke it. Because I'm willing to bet what happened is it was going along nicely, and then we added in a property to configure it. I think I may have been the one to do it. Oh, no, but I definitely merged it. Let's see. Okay, so there's a test, there's the property, there's the background. Yeah, so this thing wasn't being set before. Oh, you know what I bet you we can do? Hang on, before writing this test, I bet you I already know the fix. I bet you the fix is that. I bet you. Let's just test that real quick. Because I'm willing to bet, because that one's sitting on top and blocking the background, that the correct color is probably set higher up, because this bug did not previously exist. And actually, we could null it out too. That's another option. We might look at that. That might be a cleaner approach rather than using transparent. There. Yeah, transparent is not the right option. Let's see. Hot reload. See, hot reload is awesome when it works. Especially with WPF stuff, there's a lot of cases where it doesn't quite work right. At least I don't think that was correct. I assume Noel would have given me a different option. Let's see, dialog. Let's try it. No, that is... Okay. I do think null is probably the appropriate default here. Well, here, let's start with this. Let's go back to the test. Okay, so this is here. We're going to get rid of this, and I would like to explicitly set the what is the theme property? Dialog theme. That's what I want to set. So I want to explicitly set dialog theme to be inherit. Okay, so let's put a little space in between these because I can't read that as easy. Give me a little white space. Little white space. Let's see, get rid of that. So we've got dialog host 1, dialog host 2, grid, great, some text. Blah, blah, blah. Okay. This is actually convenient because we can steal a lot of this code. We can actually do a bunch of this stuff here. So this is test, get background color. This is asserting that both of them get the appropriate one. Now, what I'd really rather do here is, let's see, I wrote a helper for theme brush. That is not, what is that? Single test makes sense. There's a get theme brush or similar thingy in here. Where is it get resource? I don't remember the name of my own method. So contrast ratio, get background color. Where is I think it's get resource. I think is what it is. Let's just try that. I think that's what it is. So it'd be something like dialog host 1 get resource. Yeah, and so we want to pull back. So in the case of inherit, we expect it to be the what is this thing gonna load up for the window? Initialize material design, base theme, primary color, so it's defaulting to deep purple and lime. Where is the window? I think we just passed it. Create window width. Create window. So this is using background of paper. So we want to assert that our background is equal to material design paper. So we'll start here. So let's see, material design paper. Is there no, did I not give myself not a... Huh, should have given myself a paper. Oh, this needs to be awaited. Boom. Paper, get as solid color brush. Let's see, var paper brush. Boom, something like that. So that'll do the typecast. Oh, typing OP. Okay, so that gives me the brush. So what I want to assert is that in both of these cases, paper brush dot color is equal to those. Let's start with this. Assert not null. paperbrush color. I guess we just really need to assert not null on paperbrush. Color is a struct, and then because it doesn't know anything about that, use the null forgiveness operator, something like that. So I want to catch it about here. Let's just debug this test real quick. So for anybody who might not be familiar with this, this is a library called XAML test that I wrote, specifically to be able to test themes and styles, because there's not a great, I couldn't find a great testing library to do that kind of testing. Everything's designed either around unit testing or UI testing, which is fine-ish, except for unit testing doesn't really work because you need UI threads, and you really need the whole WPF rendering stack to accurately test like a control or a style. And then UI testing gets a little too high up because it's designed to simulate user interaction, which means getting things like a background brush is hard, which I didn't like that either. So I wrote my own library. Okay, so paper resource, found a resource, great. If I jump over it, did it give me a... Okay, good. So it did retrieve the right color. Okay, and then continue. And then hopefully the test fails, which it does. Okay, good. This is a good thing. Tests should start in a failing state. So expected that, actual null, perfect. So it's behaving as we expect. Perfect, go away. Okay, so when this test passes, we're probably pretty close to done. Hard part accomplished. So how about this? Dialog background should inherit theme background. I think we should be a little more clear on what the end goal actually is. Okay. So given that, so if we come back here, so if the goal is to make sure that this thing follows the appropriate background, I'm trying to decide what the appropriate default should be. I think null, given that this thing is set here. However, I think what we should probably do is up here, we should do a default. So setter property dialog background value should default to the dynamic resource material design paper. Right? Boom. That should go like that. And we should do it on the other one too. That way there is a reasonable default here. And I think this will work with dialog theme inherit. I don't know for that for a fact. So, what am I doing? What am I doing? Why am I launching the app? I've got a pretty little unit test that I wrote. Unit test. Most people would not consider this a unit test since it, starts a whole new WPF process. So there's that. Go! Look at that. Look at that. We're fixing bugs. There we go. Now we'll come in here and test it. Dialogues. So if I pop this, that looks better. Yeah. Love it. And these work. Then more importantly, if I go back to light theme, that, both of them work. Everyone's happy. Oh, I didn't realize that. That's funny. I just know, I expected this pop-up to get grayed out, but it makes sense why it doesn't. It's weird because of the layering of the dialog hosts. The two hosts are underneath the dialog because these are both pop-ups. But this one can get grayed out because this is not a pop-up. Look at that. Look at that. The interaction just works. Cool. Okay, and then I want to just double check because we conveniently have this test up here that validates that we can actually change the background. So let's validate that. Look at that. Look at that. You know what? Let's just run all the dialog host tests real quick, just to make sure we haven't broken anything. There's something very satisfying about watching those tests run. There's something very satisfying. They fire up, they do clicky, clicky, clicky. They do all the things, they validate all the stuffs, and it works. It just works. That's what we like to see. That is what we like to see. Okay, so I'm trying to think if there's anything else that needs to be tested. Oh, I do want to know. I'm trying to think of how to do this test appropriately, but let's do one more test. I think we'll bring it down here. I want to make sure that this doesn't break when the dialog host isn't set to inherit. Oh, because that's actually interesting. This thing is set to inherit. So I guess this doesn't matter because it'll always line up with paper. But when it's set to light over dark, I guess that's still going to work. Actually, you know what? Let's do this. Theory. Inline data. Base theme. We're just going to do them all. Inherit. And then dark. Light. So we'll just test all of the base themes. So we'll do dialog theme. And I think we just changed the assertion up a little bit. So this becomes that, which means I need to do this, and which means I need to escape that appropriately. And then this needs to become dialog theme. Okay, so that goes like that. Oh, I need to escape the X statics as well. Okay, so that goes there, that goes there, that goes there. I think that's good. Good. Oh, in case people haven't caught it, .NET 6 officially released. VS 2022 officially released. I'm still on the preview. I just revved to the next preview one, which they always put out a preview one that's right after the GA release, which usually is effectively basically the same thing as the GA with the preview flag on. That's it. So, for what it's worth, that's there. Go and get it. It is awesome. I love it. Yes, typey. So, at least from what I've seen, let me see if I can find it real quick. I've got it's over. Where did I do it? Let's see if I can find it. Can I get it? Yeah. So on one of my other libraries where I was multi-targeting. Oh, let me see if I can find the one. Where's the one where the tests actually pass? Here. Passing tests are cooler. It was cool to kind of just see, because this is the same 39 tests with the only change being the framework version. So you can see full framework 4.7.2, 4.8, Netcore 3.1, 5.0, 6.0, and you can see the performance, right? So we start it slow at 4.7.2, which is the oldest, 1.9, which is 4.8, which is kind of like Netcore App 2.1, I think. And then we go to Netcore App 3.1. It drops a little bit. Net 5, at least my 39 tests don't see a major performance. And then Net 6, another performance gain. Like, this is not great benchmarking, but it's nice to see the trend. So, for what it's worth, your code may be faster just by revving your target framework version. So, and also to go along with that, C#10 goodness, which is great. I will probably be revving the Lang version in this project at some point in the near future. I try not to do it right away to avoid breaking people, but be aware that the dev tools for this library are always going to be typically latest and greatest. So we'll still target older frameworks so people can still consume the library, but if you want to actively dev on it, you will need to at least pull like 2022 community in order to do that stuff. So, and I do try to make sure that nothing in the library needs anything beyond community. Open source projects thrive on community contributions, so it shouldn't need upper SKUs. Okay. So we were going to change this. So if we do this, this assertion is good-ish. This asserts that it will match the theme brush, which I believe this will pass. Let me just confirm that real quick. Because this should now run through 3 times. That was interesting that I didn't see it go dark mode. Sorry, I'm gonna just let's do this. Margin, I don't know, 50. I just want to make sure we actually see, because right now this little thing is taking up the full space of the dialog, and I don't run test. And I want to see that dark color showing through on the back, because I want to prove that we're actually hitting what I think we're hitting. Oh, that's not a good sign. See, this is why we write tests. This is why we write tests. Okay, so my test is going to fail, but that's good. It'll be in a failing state, and we'll go fix that bug. So what I would like to assert on is this text block. It doesn't show it here, so we're going to just grab this. We'll come down here, and we will do text block 1. Boom. Text block 2, and we will just grab that. Boom, boom. 2 becomes a 1. Done. And then both of these need to be text block. But what I would like to do is my assert should be assert true await text block 1. What is it? Contrast. What was the theme? There's a assert contrast something or another. This thing. Oh, this is not a shared thingy. Well, that's dumb. Let's move this function out. I want this function. I would like this function here in a shared thingy. Boom. So let's do public static async task. Let's see. We're gonna go with color. Come on, there you go. Color foreground, color background, and then let's see, we'll do double minimum contrast ratio. So we'll do that. So we're just gonna get rid of small, because we don't need this. This will become ratio. This becomes that guy. And then we want foreground. We want background, which means both of you go away. And then we're going to do a little assert here. And we will do minimum contrast ratio. And then, oh, hang on, what is this? So, no, so this should be ratio, and this here should be minimum contrast ratio minus tolerance. I'm gonna go with contrast ratio. Ratio does not. How about less than? With a tolerance of 0.1. Boom. There. So that's really what I want. And I guess this doesn't even need to be async task anymore. This is just void. Okay. There. Color adjust test. Do we change this one out? I don't want to mess with this because I lose that. Kind of like the messaging. But what I do want is material design spec, insert contrast ratio. Okay, foreground is going to be await text box on get foreground color, await text block 1 get effective background. So this thing will actually get effective background is kind of a best guess. It walks up the visual tree and tries to determine what the background color is for an element. It will completely fail if you use like layout transform and shift things around, and the actual thing that's behind it isn't the straight up thing in its visual tree. But for most of the time, it's okay. And so here we're gonna do this. We're gonna do this. And actually, you know what we're gonna do? I normally don't like doing this, but I think this is actually a good use for a using static. So using static, boom. So when you do a using static in C#, it lets you access the static members as though they were right on. Let's see, and we're gonna go with minimum contrast small text. So you'll note I'm accessing static members on that other class as though they were local to me, which is kind of cool. The drawback is obviously readability can tank. So don't use it when readability tanks. So like a lot of features, they can be abused. Don't do that. Let's see, color foreground 1, and actually I guess this thing is going to want to be that, right? And so do that. That is the wrong 4. F-O-R-E. There we go. Boom. Do 2. And we're just going to throw some asserts on here real quick to make sure that these work. So assert not null, foreground 1, foreground 2. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing here. Boom. We'll just do that level of assertion. And actually, we're going to bring kind of like that. Kind of like that. Text block 1, foreground 2, 2. Okay, now this should fail on dark right now. Because right now what should happen is because that dark color isn't being applied, it should just break. Now the fun part with inherit is, yeah. So I expect, okay, so let's just confirm what I think I know. Okay, so not surprised that inherit fails. Oh, inherit passed. Light failed. That is surprising to me. Why is light failing? I'm going to actually move these things out of this weight because this isn't adding any value. And let's dial this thing down to just light real quick so we don't have to think about much. And then I am curious to see what this thing comes up with. So debug test. See, foreground should be close to black, background should be close to white. So move you off to the side. So foreground, that's pretty close to black. And, oh, I guess background is a async call, so we got to step in. Let's do this. Hey, where's my little, fine. Run to cursor. Okay, so I don't know about you, but that looks pretty darn close to me. What does it come up with as a ratio? 20. Assert true. 20 is greater than 4.5 minus 1. That is a true statement. Okay. Foreground should be the same values. Oh, that passed. Huh. Wonder what happened the first time. I wonder if it's because I had everything inside that weight. So we're just going to run the test real quick. Because I do expect dark to fail and inherit to conditionally fail. Because inherit will then depend on the state of the system. That's at least, I think, closer to what we expect. Dark and inherit. Okay. So my system is in dark mode. Doesn't shock me. Still a little surprising, but this is close to what we expect. Let's fix dark mode, and then we'll deal with inherit since it's conditional. Okay, so where should this be? So how should this actually work? When you change that dialog host theme, let's take a look. Theme, dialog theme, dialog theme. There's that, there's that. Trying to remember where this gets controlled at. Show it to me. Don't care about demo app. Oh, too much. Gonna ignore test for the moment. There's that. There's that. Ah, it goes through the theme assist. And if I recall correctly, yeah, this guy's got some magic in him. Okay, so this guy here, when you change the theme, he swaps out the resource dictionaries. So he goes hunting for one that matches based on URI, and then pulls that out So it goes hunting for the light and dark dictionaries, pulls them out of the merged dictionaries if it finds them, and then goes through and adds in the appropriate one as necessary. Makes sense. So when that is set to an explicit value, what does that end up doing to the color? Because these guys here the problem is this dynamic resource is going to resolve outside of that. Which is a teeny bit problematic. This is a teeny bit problematic. Because this guy down here right, his background isn't going to use so this for example, the pop-up has the theme assist brush here specified, which is going to do the merge dictionary munging on the pop-up, which is good. It means all the brushes inside the pop-up will resolve with that theme's dictionary. Perfect. The problem is this background isn't resolving with a dynamic resource, which means this text element will pick up the change from here. This one won't. Or I'm sorry, the background won't. But the text elements and the foregrounds will. So what is the appropriate way to resolve this? So the fix that we put in a second ago for the background, we could cheat. Trying to decide what's the appropriate way to handle it. Does it make sense? I'm halfway tempted to use like a priority binding. You never use one of those things. Is that the right answer though? Because what we've got is a case where we wanted to use the theme colors unless a dialogue background has been explicitly set. And the only issue we have is the theme assist can't be set up at the dialog host itself because it's a container control. And this dialog theme is expected to be limited in scope to the dialog. So I'm thinking what might need to happen, just thinking out loud here, is maybe something like, I don't know, we abuse the tag property or similar, right? We could go tag property here, and draw, and so we'll just bring in the template binding like this, so that we have it stored somewhere, and then use a fallback down here. I mean, maybe. Does this thing have a style on it? Or is the style all set higher? He doesn't have a style, does he? So we could do like a trigger on this guy. That might not be a bad. I like the style triggers better than a priority binding. I just don't like priority bindings. They're ugh. Maybe that's the way to do this. Is rather than getting too fancy, we do it with a style trigger on the cards. Probably not a bad way of handling it. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, I think I talked myself into it. Let's see. So, WPF card style style, target type, let's see, card, boom. And then this is a key one that a lot of people forget about, is if you go through and create a style without doing a based on, you're just straight up overwriting what was there previously, which is typically not what you want. Typically not what you want. So you want to base it on the original, or base it on what was being applied previously. And in this case, because there was no explicit style set, it was inheriting based upon an implicit style, which is keyed on the type. So we do static resource using a key of the type, because that's what the implicit style would result to. Okay, so I don't think we're going to need this. Get rid of that. So down here, I think what we're going to do is style trigger. And the key thing with triggers is the value thing that you compare against has to be a constant. So in this case, we have to compare against null. So we're going to do I could do a straight trigger and let that still be a template binding. Or do I do a data trigger? Which one's better? Because a trigger means I have to store it somewhere first, which is an option. Don't really like that option. It's actually not that bad. So if we do this, right, we'll just do a tag. So if tag value is null. Right, so in the case where the tag value is null, setter property, let's see, background value gets dynamic resource, and this is where we're going to go back up to the top here and grab this. So we're going to whack these guys back down here. Boom. So now, because this is resolving the dynamic resource from inside the card, when the dynamic resource walks up the visual tree, when it gets to the pop-up, the magical theme dictionary that got inserted by this attached property will be there. It'll resolve appropriately. Bippity boppity booyah. What we want to do here, though, we want to default this guy binding tag relative source self bind to its tag property. So we'll default the background to the tag property. Get rid of this. The tag property will have a... I wonder why that had to be like that. I wonder why this can't just be a template binding. This should be known at compile time. Yeah, that should be fine. So the tag will get updated with the dialog background. If the tag property is null, then it'll fall back and use the paper brush. Otherwise, the background will continue to just be a binding straight to the tag. So there's going to be a little bit of a double hop there. I think that's okay. I think that's okay. So this fixes one of them. And that fixes the root one. Let's go fix the other one. So we're going to get rid of that. We're going to actually, I'm just going to grab that card style because I think that's pretty much exactly what I want. So I pretty much want to just duplicate that down here since both of these are cards. Boom. Just confirming there's no magical style set here. Doesn't look like it. I'm going to grab the tag property. Bring that down in place of the background. Boom. Okay. Back to the tests. On test. And it just works. At least that's the goal. Should just work. Oh. Sorry, it's on the wrong screen. Nope. Okay, so it failed on that guy. Let's see. That's interesting that it would fail on that line. Because this is failing on line, let's see, what does it say? 208, 233. This is weird of where it's failing. Timeout attempts exceeded. I'm a little confused. Let's run this one more time just to confirm I'm worried that my jiggling of the mouse made a difference. So that's dark. So the test failed, but visually that looked fine. And light failed this time. Interesting. Invalid because a different thread owns it. Interesting. Oh, is this the because this is sharing a remote. Oh, this could be the problem. Is there no? There's no caching of the windows, is there? Because I can make this go faster if I change out the window content. Let's look. App. Yeah, that's no bueno. What is the easiest way to go through and do this? Because I would like this to iterate. How do I change this appropriately? This exception is weird to me because this shouldn't be. Wait for. Let's see. This 208. It's interesting that it seems to think that the stack trace from this guy goes 233, 208. I'm not sure how it figures that, because that's clearly wrong. I'm wondering if this weight is actually, like, I know why it's sitting here. Because if you go too fast, you end up not getting the dialogue elements because they haven't been created yet. Let's start with moving that up and out because that doesn't need to be inside of here. Kind of want to change this up a little bit and go var card 1 gets a weight. So hang on, we're just gonna change a bunch of stuff real quick because this is a little awkward. Because we can do weight 4, boom 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 boom. Maybe I should make a helper method to do weight for element invisible or something. That might be a nice little extension. So if we do that, then we come down here, this just becomes Dialog Host 2, card 2, and then we get rid of this. Because really all we're looking to do is make sure that we give these dialogues time to open. But once they open, we run fast. There, let's try that. I think that's going to fix some of the timing. I don't know if it's going to fix the spinning. Okay, so they all fail immediately. So what is it squawking at? Solid color brush, get color. Okay, so that's helpful. 216. Oh, is it the resource? 216. Huh? Other theory. Other theory. Do we have a old version of this? 010. Let's just go look at my NuGet package. Because I am not hitting this on a different project where I use this. And versions. So there is several things out here. Let's just jump to the repository. I just want to look at this code really. Oh, hold on. Pro tip: when you're at a GitHub repo, period button. VS Code in the browser. This is utterly amazing. So it's not quite like the code spaces. You don't get compute bound stuff, but you even get some extensions. Again, some. The ones that I like syntax highlighting that don't require like for C#, the whole thing that needs to spin up like an OmniSharp process, you can't get that. But if you just want to browse a repo, it's perfect. Let's see. Windows Messenger. So I'm really interested in the fact that when I call so it's really when I call get on the brush. So it's specifically 216. So this guy here, when I go get as solid color brush, so it's this get resource that's biting me then. Let's take a look, because this seems odd that it would. Move you off to the way. So what is this? So get as should give me what I expect. Oh, you are obnoxious. Okay. I'm wondering if I've got a bug here that I've just never run into before. Internal resource. Let's see. Base value is here. Get as. Value is t, converted, deserialize. So it should deserialize the object down for me and get it as a solid color brush. Okay, so let's step over this guy. Okay, so theory here. It could still be this, but I kind of doubt it. But I'm willing to bet if I go paperbrush freeze, the problem goes away. because when you freeze a brush, it now knows that it's no longer being mutated. It's running a little faster. Okay. So that's better. So now we're not blowing up where we thought we were. Excellent. We're back to the previous failure. Okay, and I'm just gonna run this one more time, just to make sure that wasn't a fluke. Okay, same result. Excellent. Okay, so now we just have this guy here. The expected value isn't the one we were going for. And I believe, here, you hush, which means I don't need that. And I believe the issue is where we're pulling this off of. Because recall, this is pulling the resource as seen from the dialog host control, but we know that the theme assist is setting it inside. So I think what we want to do is look inside. So we don't want to do dialog host. I think what we want to do is probably card 1. And we should probably do it this. I just hate doing this. We'll do it. It's obnoxious. I hate it, but what are you gonna do? Even though I know that these should always be the same, I worry that they may not always, and because the difference between these two dialog hosts is one's using the embedded, one's using the pop-up, and there's been no small number of bugs that have come up because of that difference. So that should fix that failure. And then we should have robust test. Oh, go fast. Oh, it went fast. Why are you... Oh, interesting. I'm wondering if it's going too fast. We're just gonna test this real quick. If I arbitrarily slow this down, do you pass that? Because I'm wondering if it's when it's attempting to read that color, if it's still animating, and so therefore there's no opacity. Yeah, so that's the problem. It's reading the color too quickly. There's no opacity there, and psych. I'm gonna have to wait for the animation to finish. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come down here. We're gonna do this because I hate putting in arbitrary delays. I would rather this thing, as soon as this thing passes, we're just gonna go. There. Now I shouldn't need the delay. Run. Okay, so it'll be slightly slower on things like dark mode, depending on the theme of the machine running the tests, but at least they all pass. Okay, I am happy with the fix. We have a test, which means This shouldn't regress at all. Let's pull request it. Let's see, create branch, fix dialog host. I don't know. I don't think there's an open issue for this. Let's see. So that we did that. New test, great. Spec, we added that, great. I'm sorry, my font size is tiny. Boom, big mode font. Okay, so we changed the background to a tag. We added that fancy stuff in there. That's just white space change. Tag, template binding to dialog background. Style, not really concerned because the test passed, so it's got to be working. Dialog hosts now properly respect dialog theme. Commit and push and submit and view on GitHub. Pull request. Let's see, this is going into the milestone. Create pull request. We're just going to go looking real quick and see if there is a dialog host bug out here. See, that goes there. It's not closing open pop-ups anymore. Background color is always white. Ah ha ha! This is the bug here. This is a little different. Yeah, was this PR something that went out? No, this PR was something that went in here. So I think this should actually resolve the underlying issue here. So we're gonna edit this here. Should fix. Boom. Update comment. That should go in there. Assuming the PR build passes, we will let it ride. Okay. There's only a few issues in here. I really need to spend more time clearing issues, but that is an area where I can quite easily spend hours if I wanted. And so usually I try to spend an hour a week going through and clearing issues, but oh boy. Also, in my opinion, it is no small task for people to help review issues, which is why if you comment on an issue that goes into a milestone, you show up in my contributor list that I generate. Because people who help review pull requests or help comment on issues, I view that as contributing as well. So if anybody wants to help clear issues and check old ones and that kind of thing, feel free to tag me. If something looks like it should be closed, just leave a comment and say so, and I will come in. And I especially love when people, if there's like a bug report, if somebody can either comment and say yes, can reproduce, or not, that gives me a lot of confidence whether this is a one-off problem or whether this is actually something that needs to be looked at. So for what it's worth. Okay, so we did that. Let's go back to master real quick. Boom, boom, boom. Okay, next bug. And we started looking at this one last time. Well, let's go take a look at this, because I believe it is either I believe it's the shadows. I believe it is the shadows page. Nope, come here. So, boom. And this shows up easier if we turn this off. So you can see these buttons here, how their depth is slowly getting deeper, right? That's nice. This one, not so much. And that's a problem. So specifically, I broke this. My bad. And if we look at the card, this guy here. So there was a subtle change that I did moving this clip up to the root. And so if we look at the, let's see, history, card, this one. So you see this is the commit here that broke it. So previously, if I do, give me the full view. Yeah, so what had happened is this clip property was set down here on the content presenter, which was fine-ish, and then I moved it up to the root grid. Now the problem is if we go and look at what content clip does. So if we come in here and go and look, whoopsie. Content clip is this geometry, and more importantly, content clip gets built up when the card is rendered. And so it does some checking and some corner radius and builds up this rectangle geometry, which is great. That's kind of what we would like. But the problem is when I moved it up to this root, it then also wrapped the adorner, which was a bit problematic. So the bug that I was attempting to fix, and does it give me a good way of 2454. So let's just go look at that, because I can show the bug off. Let's see, 2454. So that's the PR, but here's the issue. So specifically what was happening is there was a card, and because of the clip, and this is specifically because this card here has a padding that was set. Yeah, so because of the padding, it was being shrunk down, and that was causing the issue. Now, that's annoying, and I think both should work. The problem that is occurring is up a little bit higher. Where am I at? Because this is the control template. So this is what's going to be put inside of the control. So when you set something like padding on the control, you're actually setting it at this layer up here. So if we take a look at our trusty friend Snoop, right? If we go and look, so when you set this, you'll note here's my card control, and inside the card I go grid, adorner, decorator, boom, 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 all the way down, right? Which is great. It's wonderful. The problem being that when you set the padding, your padding is going to be inside of this, not outside of this. So clipping at this level, even though this is where the grid is, the actual card itself is down here. Which is the weird part. So we got to figure out how to deal with this. So the simple solution is I put this back. This goes back to feature parity, but reintroduces the previous bug. All right, so I can come here, and it's between Snoop and Reload. I don't trust that. So the way Snoop works is actually rather clever. It actually injects itself into the running process space of its target app, starts a thread, and then calls itself back from that process's thread that it started, which means now it's got itself running inside of a thread inside of your process, which is pretty cool. Not gonna lie, pretty cool. It's a fun repo to look through. So yeah, so you'll note as soon as I put that back there, oh, because the only thing being clipped now is the inner content. So let's set this up such that we can see the error, because right now we can't see the failure case. So let's go to the demo. Shadows. There. And let's pick on not the button, the card, and we want to pick on the big one. So we're not going to do this. We're going to close that, do that, and then we will do toggle button. And actually, let's just go toggles. Let's just grab one of these guys. Copy. Because that's basically what I want. Boom. I want one of those. Something like that. I highly doubt that updated correctly, but one can dream. Look at that. See, and you can see right there the clipping that's occurring. Okay, so I don't need to go any further. So, problem reproduced. I'm going to restart because I think that clipping is actually worse than it should be. I was expecting to have to slide the thing to a corner or similar. Okay, so nope, not cards. Guess that's fine, but that's not where we want to be. And I'm going to put it back to light mode because that's easier to see the shadows. Nope, clipping still occurs there. It's interesting. I want to look at why the clipping's down there. I expected it closer on the other edges. Those were the opposite two edges that I expected to see it in. Okay, so there's... There... Is there a... Oh, is the clip properties being set here? Yeah, there is a clip there. So clip to bounds is definitely not right, because we want that ripple to spread out. We don't want that guy to clip. So let's back this guy up a little bit. So let's put you inside a grid. Oh, I want to relaunch. Just trying to get myself into a place where I fully understand what's going on and why this clipping's happening. Because I don't get why it's clipping the top and the left. I expected it to clip bottom and right. So it's backwards from the expectations, which is... Ooh, that was almost scary. See, that is interesting to me now. Show me. Let's see, there's the toggle button. There's my grid. So what is the horizontal alignment stretch? Stretch. How is this horizontal alignment stretch and that and that? Something's not lining up here. Margin 32, where is that coming from? Ah, haha, that's why. There's padding on this card that's big. really big. Okay, that. God, okay, so that's why it was clipping top and left, because there was a padding value being applied to the card, which was being converted to margin on the content presenter, which was pushing it into makes sense. That's a horrible way of doing it. Let's do width 100 maybe. That'll give me a little bit to work with. Okay, so that works now. But the problem still remains. If you use padding to push this thing around, so for example, if I move this guy up, so if I take his horizontal alignment and send him left, and actually let's just do this, alignment, vertical alignment. If I push him top, right, when I click on him, we're back to clipping, right? So it's clipping top left. Because as soon as I shove him up against that edge, he's going to clip. So we're back to the original bug. And we know that moving the clip up is bad because it kills the shadow. So the question now comes how to do this. And I don't know how to write a test for this because it's hard to write a test to say, is thingy visible? Specifically when the thingy is an adorner. That's hard. So we're going to skip the test. And I'm wondering why we need the clip at all. I'm almost wondering if we turn the clip off. Like why maybe I'm missing something obvious. Let's restart and check this. I'm wondering if we need the clipping at all. Like, why do we need to clip our content to the card? I don't actually know that question, and I kind of wonder if... Because none of these things matter here. And if I go here and go vertical alignment top, horizontal alignment left, and if we take this padding down at 1, I'm kind of thinking that it doesn't make a lot of sense to clip these. I don't understand why the card would be clipped. Why, under what situations would we need to clip? Is it like for a corner radius? Oh, is that the kicker? If we have, say, a uniform corner radius of, I don't know, 10. Uh, 20. Let's relaunch. I'm wondering if it's to eliminate the issue of when we round the corners, things hanging over those corners. That could be. Oh, I keep going cards. Yeah, I'm wondering if that's the kicker. So if we do like 50, effectively we're going to make a circle. I'm wondering if that's the reason for the clip, is when the corner radius is set so that we intentionally clip the stuff off. I'm kind of thinking that there's no right answer. Yeah, so that's the reason to clip. So for those people who it's not apparent to, when you don't clip, when you do that corner radius, because the corner radius is applied underneath the content, not as a wrapper to the content, there is no clipping of it. So to be clear why that happens, is because that roundedness is coming from this border here. And so you'll note it's also it's intentionally clipping, expecting it to be clipped there, and the content's allowed to float. And I'm wondering if that's the problem. So to get that look and to effectively clip it down appropriately for the drop shadow, that's what we had to do. So actually, can we get away with I'm just wondering if I can get away with the adorner level. I just don't. I'm wondering if I could wrap this guy into here. I'm gonna try something real quick. Something in the back of my mind is telling me that I tried this and it doesn't work. But I'm wondering if I can get away with this. I'm wondering if we can get away with this, because then this border handles the clipping. You'll note that that's indented wrong. That makes it hard to see. Actually, this guy's the one who's indented wrong. Let's give that a shot. Something tells me this is still problematic. Pretty sure. Let's take a look. Yeah, so that doesn't actually fix the problem. I wonder what happens if I go. Yeah, because I can't clip that guy to bounds. That's not worth doing. Okay, so if that is the case, get rid of that extra grid. Okay. What's the appropriate thing to do? So in this situation here, do I need to do anything, or can I let the cards clip to bounds take over? I don't think I can let it take over. At least not completely. Oh, I keep doing that. One of these days I'm going to get better at this. Shadows. So what happens if we go up to the card here and I go clip? Because if we clip at the card level, if we clip to bounds there, I don't know if it's obvious what's happening, so let's do this. So you can see, when I do clip to bounds, you end up with this ugliness here, right? Whereas if we come back and turn that off, now that shadow is allowed to propagate out, and it doesn't look weird because it's no longer being clipped. Because remember, that shadow is sitting on a border that's under the content, and the card wraps all of that. So you can't really do card clip to bounds, but I'm wondering if I do something like clip content and conditionally let people set it. Or I just turn off clipping content altogether. I'm wondering if there is a point to clipping the content. Because clearly that is problematic. Because if we apply the same clip, right? So if we do the same clip property here, that's being applied there. Relaunch. Shadows. Because if we apply this clip, this is what we end up with. Is that better or worse? Like in this case, it's obvious what's happening. What was not obvious is when the reason for the clip was due to padding. So for example, when this padding was, say, 10. Now you can see that when that comes in, it's really big. I think that's the cleanest option, is I take the clip off by default, but we add in a new property to the card that allows clipping content. Yeah, let's do that. Okay, so boom, property dependency property, bool, clip content, kind of like that. Owner class card, and we're going to default to false. Boom, boom, boom. Really wish the template had it up there. And then we are going to expression body all the things. Okay. So we've got that. And we still need to gen this clip up because the clip is still going to be used on the shadow border. The question is conditionally applying it here. And I believe what we're going to do is just do a control template trigger. And we'll go with a trigger property clip content value true. Do a setter on the property for clip with a value of template binding content clip target name content presenter. Boom. Okay, so we're gonna launch and we should see no clipping on it, and then we will turn the clipping on and verify we get the clip. And this way I can kind of punt, because I think clipping off is probably expected in most cases. Expression type is not a style value. What did I do wrong? Okay. I apparently can't remember how to do control triggers. Control template triggers. Wait, it looks kind of like that. Property value. While we're doing this, let's bring this guy in here. He doesn't need to live outside. Don't need to expose him outside. That should be used on one of these. it's not used anymore. Find all. Okay. Obsolete. Just kill that guy off then. He's not going to be used. We will get rid of him. Boom. Look at that. Fewer resource allocations. Love it. Okay, let's go back and see what it's complaining about. Because I'm missing something. Is it because I've got system setter value, line 42, position 18. So I'm going to just assume it's where I was just editing. Line 42, setter, expression type is not a valid style value. What? Property, target name value. No, there's no way. All right. I'm wondering if the template binding is the problem. Well, let's just confirm that this is not going to do. Reordering this should not change a darn thing. But it would not shock me if a template binding wasn't allowed, because template bindings have to be known ahead of time. Yeah, okay, that makes me feel better. So I assume this needs to just be a relative binding. Relative binding, templated parent. That's not the right property name. It's... Oh, I just realized, realizing this might be a horrible name. We've got clip content and content clip. That's not a great name. What do you call it though? What did I do wrong here? So mistyped my curly braces. Yeah, got an extra. Try again. Should clip content? Is clip content? Something. So what are the typical prefixes for bools? Is, can, should to a lesser degree, maybe should clip content. Okay, so no clipping occurring. Good. Okay, now if we go here and go clip content true, we should now see it get clipped. Okay. That's the trade-off. And I don't think I can make the determination what people should do. I could guess based upon like a few properties like corner radius, margin, and padding, but I don't want to try to divine that. Just leave people with the option to toggle it. That seems like the best of all worlds. Now, the only question that remains is what to call this thing. What to call this thing. What should this thing be called? Does clip content... What are the built-in ones? clip and clip to bounds. Which clip to bounds is a bool and clip is a geometry. So maybe there's some symmetry there. Boy, I just don't like that name. But I can't come up with anything cleaner. We'll go with as is for now. 5.0 is coming up, and so if there's a rename or people have suggestions, very open to hear it. Okay, so back here, we're going to go here. Let's see, we're going to throw these changes away, so we don't want that. Let's see, converters, we're putting an obsolete on it. Great. Got rid of its usage there. I'm only not deleting it because it's public and theoretically somebody's using it somewhere. So they will get a warning and or compile error if they've got warnings as errors turned on. Either case. Reverting fix. What was that? Fix 2454. Reverting fix from 2454. Rather than trying to apply the appropriate clip, we'll instead just allow clipping to be toggled on and off. Default will be off. We'll see how much flack I get for that. I suspect most people don't mind it not clipping. It's how most WPF controls work by default. I can't imagine it's that surprising. Maybe. I've been wrong before. You'll know when you're wrong when you ship a release, and everyone is not shy about telling you. Oh. That's the wrong branch. Create branch. Fix card. Push. Submit. And then I need to move my master branch back to here. Reset master heart. There we go. And you want GitHub. New pull request. We're just gonna real quick once again check for card related issues. Shadow and appearance improvements. Don't see anything logged, which means nobody's caught it yet. Don't think either of these are yeah. This guy here. Yeah. Okay, so I don't think there's anything really open there already. We'll do that. Pull request. Let's go check our other pull request. Dialog host. Boom. Squash merge. Get that in, delete branch, pull request, come in, we'll do the icon update, put that in, because new icons, everyone loves them. Okay. Sweet! That fixes the known issues. So I think once this guy goes in, I'm gonna rebase my theme branch on top of it. What was the latest error on this? Got some test failures. Interesting. Oh, this is good. This is good. So this comes down to the way I was building up those theme brushes. So now that the bugs are fixed, I can circle back to the API on the theming brush. And there was something that came up in the Gitter chat. So if we come in... So what's going to happen in the next release is, in addition to this themes, there's going to be a theming. Hopefully not too confusing. And one of the things that I am changing is these bundled themes are going to have both the code behind, which is what they were before. They were just a straight C# class. But in the XAML side, they're going to have this, which is pretty cool. Now, my thought being that I would love to gen this. And gen a lot of stuff from this. So I'm thinking, because I've already got, and that's what's failing currently, is one of the tests. So as long as there exists a resource with the right type and a key, this is what the IntelliSense in the XAML designer leverages. So by having this in here like this is effectively enabling IntelliSense, because before, when you would do dynamic resource, you would get some of the stuff, and like you'd see the styles show up when you would do static resource, material design, blah, 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 you'd see the style. Great. And I may look at changing the style keys later, right? I'm trying to not bloat scope. But the intent is that there's going to be a bunch of these new brushes labeled out here. And as long as they exist here, you'll get nice IntelliSense, which is great. Because the IntelliSense is not that brilliant. It just literally goes through your XAML tree hierarchies looking for stuff. Great. That's fine. We'll play to its strengths. So we set these things up, but then what we do is we replace them almost immediately at runtime by going through and populate them, which is fine, but I think I can do better with a source generator. So there is the magical mapping, and this is what's allowing me to get away with this. So this is the new, so you'll know there's a theme class that exists at the root, or an iTheme class that exists at the root, but then there's this theme class that exists down nested here. And this guy here is what actually has all the interesting stuff. So if you want to do your theming in code, you can do theme dot button dot, and then just dot into all of the various brushes. And I plan to eventually have more brushes available. So right now this was just convert the old stuff into the new stuff, and then because I know there's a swath of issues out there all about people wanting to change this color on this control for this condition. Great. Right now the answer, in unfortunately a lot of cases, is you don't. That brush is shared in like 3 places, so if you change it, you can't change just that one, you're going to change all of them. So the goal is to break some of that monolith up so that people can configure this and tweak it as they see fit. The default stuff will still populate everything the way one would hope. But if we look at like this guy here, this theme manager class, you'll note, takes in an old theme, and this is an obsolete method, but it takes in the old class and maps it to the new class. So all of the old stuff is expected to work. So for the 4.3.0 and maybe 4.4.0 release, old names, new names should both work. However, old names, you will probably start to see warnings flagging you. And my hope is to write a small script, probably PowerShell core, that you can point at a repo and say, update my brushes. It may not be perfect. It's likely going to do a lot of regex, but it'll hopefully be a good 95% solution to make the upgrade path easy. That's the hope. If anybody wants to help with that, that'd be great. But right now, the next the next battleground is going to be getting all of these brushes updated. And I think I can use these XAML dictionaries as a source to generate this stuff. I might need to go the other direction. So the only reason I'm hesitating is because I know something about how the WPF compile works. And the unfortunate part about the WPF compile is there's sort of a two-step process. If you step through the various steps in MS Build, you'll see that there's a design time XAML compilation that occurs. And if I tried to have a source generate the XAML for me, like what's inside of here, which would be ideal, because I'd like to have everything declared in the theme class, let this thing be the source of truth and have it drive the other things. I don't think I can get away with that, simply because of how that compilation works, but I might try it. The other thing is, as long as I've got unit tests validating it, it might not be that bad to keep them in sync by hand. Because they won't be able to get out of sync, because as soon as you open a PR, it's going to get rejected. Because the test will fail. So maybe that's okay. Maybe that's good enough. Maybe that's good enough. Cool. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get the last of these things on the theme brushes rebased here as soon as this merges. And then I think, aside from just updating a bunch of those resources, I think it might be close to merging and being in. Once I merge it, I am going to let it sit and bake for a little bit on a preview build. I wasn't planning on letting 4.3.0 get so big, but it's big. So I keep saying I'm not going to let it get big, and then I keep letting it get big. So that's exciting. Vey, lots of output. Come on, scroll. Thank you. Show me the pull request. Look at that. Looks good. Squash merge. Woohoo! Delete branch. So then we'll pull master, get latest there. Boom. And then we will rebase onto master. We are going to close Visual Studio, and we're going to abort the rebase and try this again. Abort rebase. Let's try this one more time. I imagine Visual Studio was probably what was locking that file. Merge conflicts. It's almost assuredly something we just did. So this needs to be a bit of a compromise. So foreground is fine. So we technically want this. And then we want this. Right? That's the end result. We want the tag change that we just made, but we want the updated brush name on this side. Okay, I assume it's going to be the same thing here. Update the tag here, updated brush name on this side. Yeah, so that's fine. Continue rebase. Boom. Easy rebase. Easy rebase. Though there's just a handful of commits here. Just a few. But I am at my 2-hour mark where I try to call it. And my Mountain Dew is empty. That's a sign that I should probably call it for the night. So with that, I'm going to say thank you everyone for coming and hanging out. Metal Slug, always a pleasure seeing you around. With any luck, the theme brushes will be near completion. If I get them wrapped up, I will hopefully do that. There may be, I've been on a source generator kick recently, so we might have to do a stream or two on that. I've got a few ideas up my sleeve of some fun stuff to build. So, cool. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming and hanging out. Happy coding. See y'all next time.